it's like people will just have their opinion. People that don't even know you or in real life will just be like trying to shit on you to people. So like, I guess like, you know, I don't know. It makes even like dating and shit hard because it's like, you know.
Especially just because you put yourself out there in
a lot, too much.
Shady ways many times.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm saying like, that's not even me no more, for real. And
but I could imagine like at least some girls that you might kick it with in your life being like, oh, so who was sucking on your anus? You're famous, so you're getting your anus sucked. What, you want me to suck your anus?
Nah, this girl was going in on me about Eliza the other day. And I was
really?
like,
a girl you're hanging out with now?
I mean, I don't want to get all too deep into it, but it was just like, I was just like, I can't believe like this is causing problems in my actual life. Like, you know?
I won't say who, but there are other No Jumper employees who basically, multiple really. Multiple employees here who have basically run into the problem of their girlfriends being mad at them for being around Eliza or responding to Eliza's DMs or whatever.
Well,
but she was in
Eliza hit me up and gave me a pep talk. Told me, fuck the haters.
For sure. I mean, she's cool. Shout out to her. You know?
Yeah, I got mad love for Eliza. She was like, "Oh, you didn't even suck 7 dicks. You got it easy."
She's like, "Girl, how did you do it?"
That's not what she did.
She's like, "How did you?"
She told you to make the merch?
No.
Who told you to make the merch? You did.
No, I really planned on making the merch.
Like right after it happened.
I thought it was a good idea.
Wait, did you think about it after or before Shade Room post?
No, I thought about it when I changed my bio.
Did you know this was going to go viral right after?
No.
That's why you did it? You set OT up?
No, I would never.
No, I meant like, did you think about it after it happened? Like, damn, this is about to go viral.
When I saw the Shade Room posted the video, yeah. I was like, oh, let's just make merch, fuck it.
Listen, I'll say this after having watched or rewatched, because the first time I watched the episode that went viral,
you were in the comments like,
yeah,
did he just threaten to kill Yassy? I'm like, Adam, hello.
I'm gonna use the bathroom while you guys do that.
Listen,
I didn't watch it.
I was watching it. I don't think that, you know, Gaia or yourself necessarily did amazing at handling the energy that was being thrown at you guys in that initial podcast, but I honestly don't know what I would have done, and I'm very experienced with this. I don't know what I would have done if I was sitting on a podcast and you had OT and AD laughing like actual hyenas, like hysterically laughing at nothing.
But that was my whole angle, though. Even when we did the show on Wednesday, I think he tried to make it seem like I was like mad that he was enjoying himself. I'm like, no, You've enjoyed yourself so many other times here, and it was heightened. And I get it, the best friend thing, but it's like I'm trying to redirect the conversation. You're still laughing at nothing.
I honestly, like at one point, OT is just going like, ugh.
Yes, making noises.
And just AD is laughing like he's fucking Jerry Seinfeld. And I like,
yes,
honestly,
very dense.
When I'm watching it, I'm like kind of like, because I've watched so, like, not just the podcasts I've done, I've watched so many podcasts. I feel like I'm used to every dynamic. I feel like I'm used to what happens, you know, like when the Black China thing happened, like it did not faze me. I knew exactly what to keep doing. It was like, oh, she's pissed off. She's going to walk out. This has happened to me before. I'm not taken aback by this. It is what it is. They were so like, they have the kind of friendship that I would like kind of think of like the way that I was with my friends when I was like 13, where you think that each other are so funny, and it's like you don't like, you think that each other are so funny because you've been in so many situations with them and had so many inside jokes that now everything is an inside joke, and somehow just laughing alone is enough to like continue to multiply and make for more laughs. And I honestly just don't know what I would have done if I was sitting there. And so I really can't blame you guys for not really knowing what to do in that moment.
No, I was definitely thrown off guard for sure.
Yeah, they were.
It was a lot.
But you.
It was a lot. Like. But
you want to know the one thing that I was wondering too? What would that podcast have been like if AD actually went through his 50 photos of them together? Or
wait, what do you mean?
Well, because part of why AD was pissed about how that podcast went left is because he had spent mad time before that podcast gathering videos, allegedly as much as 50 videos.
Of him and OT.
I've been told that almost all of the videos were OT dancing in different places around the world.
Yes.
And that to me sounds like a weird podcast. Like I don't really know.
He's trying to like start the podcast off
No,
with
no,
that?
he threw
Play it
that
in the middle.
like smack dab in the middle,
Yeah,
like with no intro. Really.
AD wanted to be like, check out all these great times that we had together. Here's OT dancing in this gas station.
Which
Here's
is cool.
him dancing at this private jet landing area, whatever.
Okay.
I just don't know if that would have been as good of content as AD was thinking that it was going to be. So it turned out that OT arguing with the female co-host actually probably, I think it might have been for the best. But I don't know. I maybe we should redo the episode where we look at all the videos of OT dancing.
I was gonna say I don't know if I would do. I don't want to pull up 50 pictures of Adam, of me and Adam hanging out.
No, I mean it worked well with the theme because what we initially planned was it was
like a
going
best-
to
it
be
was
a
a
best
bestie-
friend theme, but we
bestie
had
theme.
talked about it. Like we had talked about it. I had the Google Doc up. Like I was ready for structure.
What is Gaia normally like?
She was really offended.
Was it the
About-
nipple thing?
Yeah, she was very uncomfortable
Okay, yeah,
with
yeah.
that. Just because like she really is very tapped out of this whole thing. Like she's
So
we're
why-
polar opposites. Like
So
polar opposites.
why come on to something like
No,
that?
because she thought it was gonna be fun. Like I told you, like we had a structure. It was gonna be like like certain experiences we were gonna talk about. Like we never thought we were gonna talk about like relationship shit or nothing like that. To be
Why
honest,
not?
I thought it was dragged out.
It was probably
always bring
it was
shit,
one
sure.
of the worst matchups of personalities that I could have imagined because I also feel like OT and AD are kind of like, especially when they're drinking, they're used to being able to pretty much say whatever to girls and fuck with girls. And I feel like that nipple comment, like
What was the comment? What was said about nipples?
you probably remember it better than
Nipple
me.
girl,
Why were they called?
Nipsey,
You could see
Nip
her-
Nip.
But what happened?
But to the
Why?
point where she put on a jacket.
Nipsey.
Oh, her nipples were out.
They were out or
They're
whatever.
fucking-
You could see it through her shirt. Or
And,
And like,
something.
yeah, we look like you see how we're laughing about it.
so
Like
stupid.
she's like so not from the like she's
Yeah.
very uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's like, nigga,
You know what I
don't-
mean? She's like, I didn't come here for that. I'm gonna put on my jacket. I'm gonna sit
That's
over
a fact.
here. You know what I mean? Like this
But
is
like,
your thing.
no offense, but like, maybe like start off with a jacket on or something if your nipples are exposed.
I could see that too, but
And
at the
it's
end of the
and
day,
you're on
like
camera and like low key will get kicked off of YouTube.
We had to blur out Blueface's girl's nipples from a recent podcast at length.
oh yeah,
You know, so that's what I'm saying.
Shout
So
out
saw
Rock.
that.
I'm not saying maybe they shouldn't have dragged it out, but like also maybe like you got to cover up your nipples.
No, but
if you don't want
but the thing
nobody to-
is, it started before. She started with the jacket on.
this
She
was-
put the jacket on. The
Wait,
jacket
this
was on the whole
be-
time.
Oh, so this is before it,
it
even
started,
started.
but yeah,
That's like
it
the
wa-
first thing.
Yeah. It was like, what's up, bitches? And then it was like, yeah, it was a lot of stuff that went on, a lot of bad energy from the jump. So,
So okay, so this is before the podcast even started.
Yeah.
And they like
Yeah.
they already had this weird nipple thing.
My favorite thing about that podcast, though, is just the fact that Yassy, to a certain extent, on the podcast has not that you never opened up, but at times we had said to you, I feel like you're better when we're just talking to you in the office than you are on camera on the podcast, and I think that's what kind of has to happen for Yassy to really like get better and better on camera. She has to be more like her regular stuff, because when we're sitting in here talking, she's fine. She's like really,
That's a fact.
she's good. But then
I've never been on a podcast
Some of
with
the
you, so I don't
some
know.
of the early podcasts that we did, she was a little bit more like
Probably
in her
nervous,
shell and
though.
stuff.
Yeah.
I really at least appreciate the fact that having OT and AD piss off your friend kind of forced you to defend yourself,
Yeah.
and like that really kind of made you have to show like who you actually were. You kind of find out what somebody's really about when somebody puts their back against the wall,
Yeah, no, that's a fact. But you got to think about it too. It's like not everyone is going to be immediately comfortable and just like, what's the word? I don't know, just like
De-escalating.
Just opening up everything about your life on camera. You know, like you can't expect everybody to just do that. And honestly, there's some times where I didn't say some shit here that was like too personal and then regretted it later. So I kind of understand why people are a little closed off on camera, because you don't fucking think about how everybody's about to be paying attention to it or like bringing up what you said.
And there's something about doing a podcast where, if I was just like meeting a random girl for the first time and her nipples were totally showing, I probably would not say anything about it, because I would just be like concerned that she would be offended. But then when you're on a podcast and you're making content, it's kind of like, well, if I'm supposed to be the funny slapstick crazy guy, maybe I
Slapstick.
should just draw attention to the thing that I'm thinking of, and the fans will appreciate the fact that I'm drawing attention to it. It's like you kind of judge yourself by a different standard when you are on camera than in your personal life.
That's a fact.
And I don't know if they were necessarily thinking about that. Also, they were drunk as hell, and you guys both weren't drunk, which really stood out to me as like being probably a big part of this.
I really stopped drinking because it got to the point where I was starting to get mad. Like, that's why when the whole disrespect thing came up, it was like, no, I really could have gone crazy. Like, I really could have gone crazy because I was really like, I was mortified. I was like, there's no way. Like his foot's in the air. Like, people, like,
Yo.
like he's wasted. And then, like, Josh is asking if we should wrap it early. And I'm looking at AD like, nigga,
Like,
let's wrap it up. Like, let's put a bow on it. Come on, get it out of here.
OD falling out of the chair was definitely a moment where I'm just like watching the TV, just jaw drop, like what the
But
fuck
imagine
is
how
happening?
I'm feeling, like
I think
sitting
I tuned
right
in
across.
and you guys were just all laughing about something, and then, like, I guess it was funny at first, but then like but both of them kept laughing so hard. I was just like, what is going on? This
then
podcast
I look bitter because I'm not laughing, but at the end of the day, I'm like, no pun intended.
But when you spoke to AD after the fact and stuff, you seemed like you were kind of like unhappy with his attempts at resolving the conflict in general. Like you felt like he wasn't really like seeing your side of it.
No, he still doesn't.
No, I heard you guys on the second podcast from last week. And
Oh my fucking god! After this show last week, they were talking about it. Like when we finished, right? Me and this nigga went to go get food, come back, and they're still talking. It's like they never paused the convo.
Nope, never.
No, it was like you paused the convo from where we left and then resumed it when we got back.
And that's something I just had to come to terms with. I said, you know what? You're not gonna win when someone is fixated on you being wrong or stuck in their ways.
Or not even like being wrong, but just like trying to like prove like his point to you, I guess, or just make you understand his point.
No, but the thing is, there's so many times where I understood.
He didn't feel like it, I guess.
I just don't know if he thought I was gonna get up here and just completely
Act like nothing
fold.
happened.
Like, I'm not.
Right, because it's like from my perspective, there were definitely like things that I think were like wrong from both sides. I don't want to say wrong, but it's like pretty clearly like, you know, if I was in his situation, I think I would very much be able to have a conversation with you like, you were definitely right in some ways and wrong in some ways, and I was definitely right in some ways and wrong in some ways, because I think that like on one hand it was just like a bad matching, but also it was just kind of like, you know, it's like the thing that happens when like you are joking around with your friend and you assume that the other person is going to appreciate it and then they don't appreciate it. It's like the joke, like joking around sort of like depends on both people being consensual in it, you know?
For sure.
Joking around
She
is
just
like
wasn't
sex.
giving
It needs to
that.
be
She wasn't giving
consensual.
that energy though. Like she made it clear that she was uncomfortable. Like she put a jacket on. I thought it was just gonna stop there. Like the first time, all right,
people
you're
don't
just
read the
being
room,
dumb. I was like, okay, the first time you're just being dumb. Second time is like, all right. Third time is like niggas is dragging it.
Oh, so they just kept calling her like Nipsey.
Nipsey. And then that's another thing.
That's
She's
kinda
like
funny.
talking to, like, we think it's funny because like we know.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, if I was the girl in that situation, I guess I would.
Like I
felt
can
that.
take things because I'm just like whatever. Like I don't care.
For me, if I was gonna joke around with a girl about something like her nipples showing through her shirt, it's like I have to really know her.
You
I have to
gotta
really,
know
because
the fuck
Exactly.
out
you
of
know,
her.
Exactly.
a lot of girls would be really offended by that. A lot of
Yeah.
girls would roll with the punches
That
and
gotta
think
be-
it was funny or whatever.
That gotta
you know?
be like I've known her for like years.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
That's a
just
fact.
that's really all it came down to for me. It was just like, all right, let's
I
have a
felt
mutual respect for each other. You know, I don't know your friend.
But that's where it started. But then how did it start to escalate as far as
I
like,
genuinely believe that the hostility that was aimed towards me was really towards her. But
But-
she's more soft spoken and she's not really gonna.
she's not about to be.
She's not about to
rah-rah'd
sit
up.
here. Like this is not her life. Like she's.
And that was the fascinating thing about it, is that you have you and you have AD, and you guys are at least partially invested in this being a good podcast. And then you had the complete polar opposites, where you had OT, who's drunk as hell, clearly not really like invested in the art of podcasting, as you could kind of tell when he was like laying on the ground with a shoe up in the
Laying on
air,
the
and
mic.
you know, give it to him. The guy's viral.
No, he's viral.
And then you have Gaia, who's on the completely opposite side of the spectrum. And then you have AD and you guys both feel extremely tied to the other person and to a
Too
lesser
tied.
extent tied to each other. And then you guys are acting as moderators between like a nun and like a drunk wrestler.
No, for real. That was a very good description.
It was just a
I'm not gonna lie.
fascinating
No,
exercise
it
in
was
podcasting.
great. It was a lot of energy, man.
A lot of mixtures.
Like,
yeah.
I'm loud, but like that was crazy.
In all the times back in the day, and even in the Melrose story, we would just have a bunch of random girls on the podcast, whatever. I never really had a situation unfold that was that bizarre. And I mean, I've had a lot of weird situations. Like me and Lena did a podcast with a couple of random girls that we met on the street. And during the podcast, one of them started drinking, and she got so drunk that she went and had to puke in the bathroom. And then Lena went to the bathroom, and she was laying on the ground, passed out.
The Turn Up Twins?
Whatever the fuck their names were. Yeah, we you know, that was.
Wow.
You know, that was like an example of a blooper from my perspective. The OT and AD and Yassy and Gaia thing was like a whole nother level. But
Mind you,
I keep thinking about if she wasn't there and it was just you, what you would have done and how you would have handled the dynamic of them.
That probably would have not happened.
They're the bushwhackers.
It wouldn't have happened.
For my wrestling
I probably
fans.
would have walked off though at some point. I'm like the only reason I was there is because it's like, all right, like AD's like, chill, like, no, we're not gonna end it. I'm like, okay, so maybe it's gonna get better. Like maybe you're gonna say something. And then it was like, once the ship has sailed, this is a shit show.
At what mark did you feel like y'all should have ended it? Like at what time
When
stamp?
Josh first had to speak.
When
He muted us and the country song was playing.
How long had y'all been doing the show for that?
40 minutes.
Oh, y'all could have canceled it then.
That's what
40 minutes
yeah.
you could have stopped.
Yeah, and then I said that to AD and he was like, no, we're gonna keep it going. I'm like, all right.
What, he wanted to go for like a fucking 2 hours or
I
something?
think he was having a blast.
Well, he wanted to get to his videos.
Yeah, he definitely did want to get to the videos.
Honestly, I love that. I love that. That's like very wholesome content. And when he said that last week, I had no idea what he's talking about, so I just let him brush over it. But
Yeah.
now,
To be fair, like AD, I've seen him have to like really change in a lot of ways through doing the podcast and stuff. And like some of the things that he's had to kind of learn are things that you almost would think that you wouldn't have to tell most people. Like when we are doing the news and we're talking about 6ix9ine, you can't say, oh, like if it was me, I would have sprayed up his mama's house. Like, you know, that kind of thing that we had to like edit out. That kind of thing is like, you know, most people wouldn't need to be told that.
but why I feel like No Jumper kind of embodies like the unorthodox style of things. So like,
Killing informants? No, but there's a certain extent where like with Snapchat specifically, like YouTube
Okay.
might not be as tough about it with Snapchat in particular. Like you can't swear, you can't show weed, you can't say the 6ix9ine must die. I don't think, you know, like
I didn't know that. See?
It's just like,
So
you know,
maybe you would have had to tell me the same thing.
little things. And like, I feel like there's like a real opportunity in that podcast for him to be able to remove himself from the scenario, observe the situation, and then gain some better understanding of who he is and what podcasting is and how he can be a better podcaster through that. I'm not 100% sure that he's all the way there from watching the follow-up episode because it seemed like he kind of like, and I don't blame it at all. It's like, it was hard to comprehend what this fucking dynamic was and exactly how it went left. And to be able to see both sides, because like I'm saying, like I'm very experienced in this, and it was shocking to me.
So when you guys talked about this, y'all just never came to a conclusion together, or y'all never like y'all agreed to disagree, and that was it.
I agreed to disagree.
That was it.
That was it. That's all she wrote.
The question is just how it goes from there.
No, I'm chilling, honestly. I mean, like at this point, it's like it's beating a dead horse. Like obviously, he's not gonna understand me in that situation. I understand where he's coming from. I just think that like
It could have been handled.
it could have been handled
differently.
because like he's telling me like you don't know my homeboy. Yeah, nigga, you do though. So step in.
I think he should have probably exercised his ability to be a host more during the podcast.
That's
If
how I
he
felt.
had tried to hold court more and say, okay, like because that's the thing that you need to do as a podcaster. You need to like have a bunch of people hooting and hollering, acting crazy, and you need to be able to instill order and say, all right, everybody, this is what I want to talk about. Here it is, and actually get people to take turns, get people to like really talk about
Interact
stuff
with
in a
each
more
other.
intelligent way. It was kind of like he was really like just sort of like letting OT run wild, and there was no attempt to like rein him in, which I think needed to happen at that point. Like if it was going to be a coherent podcast, it was going to have to be a moment where AD kind of like talked over everybody, got everybody else to shut up, and sort of like laid down, okay, this is what we're talking about right now.
I mean, honestly though, I don't even put so much blame on like OT for a lot of shit just because of the fact that I don't know when he found the time to get so drunk before we even started. Like he was like slurring in the beginning. So I was like, oh, this could only go one way. You know what I mean?
And y'all were still drinking as the podcast went on.
Yeah, they were still taking shots.
That was what I was saying. I was like, I think drinking on the podcast can be okay. I think getting shit-faced before the podcast is probably
I've
a
never
pretty
seen him
bad
do
idea.
that. I've never seen him do that. But I get it. Like, you're excited. Your friend's here. Cool.
I've watched maybe 10 episodes of Drink Champs, and I don't think I've ever seen anything that drunk.
Well, those men are like 40 plus.
Hey, them niggas
They've been drinking since like
They're
forever.
professionals. Well,
Yeah.
look at AD and OT. I mean, they're not 40, but
God.
they've been drinking like fucking crazy for many years.
Yeah, I don't know. They were not. Don Julio drank them that day. I don't know.
Goddamn stomach, boy.
I'm just interested to see where it goes from there. I'm almost bummed you guys have a guest tomorrow. It might be better, but
No, I honestly want to
feel
start
like-
doing some
I feel
episodes.
like nobody wants to hear y'all talk about this again. Like,
No, I'm honestly over it.
y'all talked about it. It happened. We talked about it last week with AD. Y'all talked about it the next day after that together, and then now we just talked about it again.
No, yeah, honestly, my only thing
we had
like
to let you
in
get
bringing
your,
it
we had to
up.
let you get your point off though, with the No Jumper Show fans.
Oh, I didn't.
I
know.
just felt like now that I had watched it, because when I was on Twitch playing poker for like 16 hours on Sunday, and I watched like the whole thing on stream and like was reading the comments from people and whatnot, and that kind of made me have more thoughts on it. I almost felt bad that like Vlad asked me about it and I hadn't really like
Vlad
seen the
asked you
full
about
thing in context. So there's that clip floating around.
I just want everybody to know that when we started the podcast, Adam looked me in the eye and said, "Why did you bring your lingerie?" He was talking about my do-rag. That was
I
sitting
thought it
around.
was at first.
Innocent mistake.
Have you ever seen anybody put one of these on? Actually, Hesh put one of these on you. If someone has the picture of Adam wearing a do-rag, DM it to me, please.
Google Adam22 do-rag. There's a couple shots out there.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I hate that I have to like defend knowing you.
I think I tweeted out a picture of me wearing a do-rag and said, "Gonna tell my kids this is Gucci Mane." And I was wearing cloud goggles too.
Oh wow.
Which
Was that when y'all made that song for the
yes, Tanner Fox.
Tanner Fox, the YouTuber slash professional scooterer?
That's pretty crazy when you think about it. That I took Tanner Fox, who at the time was a 16-year-old scooter pro slash YouTuber, brought him to a crazy trapped out party in the middle of the day in LA with Hesh and all these dudes, and
All the healthy boys.
shot a music video for him dissing Rice Gum.
Didn't y'all write the song for him too, or Hash wrote the song for him?
That's a good question. I can't remember exactly how that happened.
I think y'all asked me to write the song. I wasn't around.
You was ghostwriting?
It'd be hard for you to write a diss song about Rice Gum without
No.
knowing anything about him besides that he's Asian.
No,
Which
I
is
knew-
really, that's all you need.
You wrote it?
no, but I should have wrote it. I think they asked me to write it.
Can you write me a song?
Yeah.
I really feel like I could really like go crazy.
Could write you a crazy diss if you want.
Nah, I'm cool.
Okay, but I'll write you a song for sure. What you want to rap about?
I don't know.
Whenever I freestyle,
bitch from Jersey.
I
was gonna say from Brooklyn.
I'm always freestyling
I want to go
two
Lil' Kim
AD
swag with you. I don't know
rhyming OT Genesis with Sega Genesis, so you could do that.
OT is my friend.
Or the Book of Genesis.
OT is my friend.
why. That nigga posted the shirt. I'm in. Actually, I'm gonna come clean. Just from a design standpoint, your merch was better.
Come on, man.
He had like,
Quality.
he had some good options though. It was like, it was funny.
We had that conversation earlier, and Yassy wasn't around, and we came to a similar conclusion.
Yeah, for sure. He threw in his logo though. We should have threw in the Yassy logo somewhere.
I don't have one yet.
We need a Yassy TV logo.
I was thinking of like a cable box TV thing with
How's
like
that
me
selling?
sitting on. It's doing well. I was very shocked.
Shopify put a pause on your payments yet?
Yes.
That's
you
how
saw
you
so
know
much?
you get into
You think
it.
Yes.
you're scamming?
Yes.
No. Hey, listen. That's how you know you get into it. If Shopify don't pause you, you not making enough sales, my nigga.
Bro.
For real. If Shopify don't be like, what the fuck is
Hold
going
the
on?
next day. I was
Oh
like,
nah, nigga.
I just got here.
Just know I'm on hold till February.
No, that's right. Don't play with him.
I'm on hold till
Okay.
February.
He is not one of them. Okay.
No, that means I'm
Not
broke,
to-
right? That means I'm broke. That means I'm broke.
Hip hop. Hip hop.
I'm broke waiting on them to send me my bread.
No.
To-
No.